Hi students. So today we'll try to learn uh, network theory, next part of the module 1, which is source transformation. So I hope in my previous video where the introduction was been given on the circuit analysis. So we have covered some of the important aspects of network theory, which is very much required for you to learn further concepts in network theory. Okay, so today we'll keep our eye on source transformation, which is one of the technique which is used in analyzing the electric circuits to transform the complicated electrical circuit into a very simple electrical circuit where you can find out the solution very in a simplest manner. Okay, so let us look into the source transformation method, which is used in reducing the complexity of finding out the solution of any given electrical circuit. Okay, before that, we will see some of the very important rules that we normally use in network, in network theory or in source. It is not only used in source transformation. We normally use this in many other techniques also. Basically, I hope you people know this. I hope in your +1, +2 or in your first year of your engineering, I hope this voltage division rule and current division rule you people have learnt it. So let us grasp it in a shorter manner. So we don't need any derivation of that. We just need to know how to use the formula for voltage division rule and what is the formula that we normally use for current division rule. Okay, so in voltage division rule, normally when we say voltage, we normally see the circuit is in series format. Okay, so when we go for voltage division or when we come across with voltage term, we normally see the electrical circuit will be in series form. Okay, it will be in a series form. You can see a loop there. Okay, so that is what I mean to say. And if you try to see the loop, then we normally go across with the Kirchhoff, voltage law and Kirchhoff current law. What we come across with, right? So, what is voltage division rule? Let us look into that. So we do have R1 and R2 which is connected in series, and in turn it is connected in series with the voltage source. So as we all know, resistors are passive and voltage source and all is an active source, where resistor, capacitor and inductor are passive components. So here when I apply the voltage division rule, I am trying to find out the voltage drop across the each resistor which are connected in series. Okay, so this makes me to find out the voltage across any resistor component. So if I want to find out voltage drop across R2, so what should I do? So voltage drop across R2 is mentioned here as V2. So when I want to find out V2, which is voltage drop across the resistor R2, then what will I do is I'll take the total voltage of the circuit V, which is applied to the circuit, which is V, and I multiply that with the same resistance where I am finding out the voltage across. So R2 is the resistance where I am finding out the voltage across. R2 is V2, which I am trying to find out here. So V2 would be equal to V, which is total voltage, multiplied by the same resistance where I am finding out the voltage, which is R2, whole thing divided by the summation of the resistance which are connected in the total resistance which are connected in series. So therefore I have only R1 and R2 here, so therefore I will say R1 plus R2 is the total resistance which is connected in series. So therefore V2 would be equal to V into R2 divided by R1 plus R2 is what voltage across R2. So similarly, if I want to find out what is the voltage across R1, so it's very simple. So when I say V2, I take the resistance R2 here. So if I find out V1, which is the voltage drop across R1, then definitely I will take V into the resistance where I am finding out the voltage is R1 divided by the summation of the resistance which are connected in series. So this is what the voltage division rule. So V1 is V into R1 divided by R1 plus R2, whereas V2 equals V into R2 by R1 plus R2. So this is these are the two formulas which we normally use in the circuit when we apply various techniques that we come across. Okay, like mesh analysis, node voltage analysis, source transformation, star delta conversion. You take any methods that we come across later in later stage when we try to solve the problem. We normally use this voltage division rule or current division rule wherever it is applicable, and then we will find out the solution in the easiest manner. Okay. So then current division rule is the next one which we normally use. So normally when I say current, the circuit will normally be in parallel. Okay, when I say current, then the circuit will normally be in parallel way. Okay, so therefore here you can see R1 and R2 both are connected in parallel, and we all know that the voltage gets divided in series whereas current gets divided in parallel circuit. So here that is the reason when we say current it is parallel, and when we say voltage it is in series, because series network always divides the voltage whereas parallel network always divides the current. Okay, so therefore I have total current I getting divided into two different currents, which is I1 and I2. We can say that the total current I would be equal to I1 plus I2, Kirchhoff current law. Okay, KCL. So the total current I would be equal to I1 plus I2. Similarly, in voltage division rule, the total voltage V would be equal to V1 plus V2, which is Kirchhoff voltage law, which is applied for that entire loop when we come across. So here similarly I equals I1 plus I2. Now our job in current division rule is to find out what is the current I1 and what is current I2. So earlier whatever we did with respect to the voltage, in a similar manner we also do for the current, but here we are not going to consider the same resistance. We are considering the opposite resistance of the current, where I am through which resistance I am trying to find out. So here I am finding out the current I2 which is flowing through R2. Okay, so I2 is the current which is flowing through R2. Therefore, I'll say I2 would be equal to the total current I multiplied by the opposite resistance of that particular I2. So, which is the opposite resistance for I2 is R1. Okay, if the same resistance, then it is R2, but the opposite resistance is R1. So, I multiply the total current I with R1, and then I divide it by summation of the resistance. Whatever I did earlier in voltage, we took the same resistance, whereas in current, we try to take the opposite resistance. Okay, so I2 equals I multiplied by R1 plus R2. Similarly, if I find out I1, then for I1 the opposite resistance is R2. Therefore, I1 would be equal to total current I multiplied by R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay, so this is what the current division rule is all about. Okay, I hope you all understood what is voltage division rule and what is current division rule. Okay, now let us go with the next practice, which is normally a very important practice which you people need to do in any circuit when you have more than one or two active sources, whether it can be a current source or it can be a voltage source. Very important note which you people keep in mind: this is possible. Addition of current sources or addition of voltage sources is possible only for independent sources. So addition of current sources or addition or subtraction of voltage sources, it is possible only in terms of the sources when it is independent. Okay, so this is not possible when the source is dependent. Okay, dependent sources you can't apply this particular practice which we are going to see. So the first practice is with respect to the current source. When you see the current sources are connected in parallel, okay, when you see the current sources when it is connected in parallel, we need to see this arrow, what you can see here, the current source arrow. So the direction of the arrow is very important. So when both the current source, when they are connected in parallel and when the direction is same, okay, so the direction of I1 is flowing towards top, whereas I2 is also flowing upwards. Therefore, when both the directions are same, it means that the total current I would be equal to summation of these two currents. Okay, so when there are two different parallel current sources, you can add them only when the directions are same. Okay, you can add them when the direction of the current sources are same. Okay, so here arrow, you should see the direction with respect to the arrow. Therefore, both are upwards. Therefore, you add both. Similarly, when you have a current source which are connected in parallel, and you see the direction of the current source are in opposite. See, I2 is flowing in terms opposite in terms of I1, right? So if you have current sources which are opposite in direction, you are going to subtract it. Therefore, the current I here would be equal to I1 minus I2. Okay, because I1 is flowing towards upwards, whereas I2 is flowing downwards. You can also say it as I2 minus I1. See, the magnitude of the sign gets changed, plus to minus or minus to plus, but the solution remains same. If you take I1 minus I2, you get 3 amps. If you take I2 minus I1, you should get minus 3 amps. So that is how you need to keep in mind. Okay, the answer should not change. Only the sign gets changed. Okay, so the sign gets negative or positive. That is what which is very important. You need to keep in mind. So similarly, in voltage source, you can see the voltage source connected in series. Okay, so voltage source, in voltage source you should see this plus and minus. Okay, here plus and minus. So both are in same polarity. Okay, plus minus plus minus. When I say the current is flowing into this particular loop, think I is flowing to this particular in this particular branch. So plus to minus plus to minus. So I is flowing from plus to minus and I is flowing here again from plus to minus. Therefore both polarities are same. So you can add that voltage sources V1 plus V2. But see through that the voltage source should be in series. Current source should be in parallel. Similarly here we can see V1 is plus minus whereas V2 is minus plus. When I say current is flowing through this branch, first it flows from plus to minus in terms of V1, whereas when it goes to V2 it flows from minus to plus. Therefore you can say that V would be equal to V1 minus V2. So when the polarity of the voltage sources are different, then you see that you will subtract the voltage sources, whereas if you see the polarity same, you add the voltage sources. Similarly, the direction of the current sources, when both the current sources direction are same, you add the current sources, whereas when the direction of the current sources are opposite or different, then you subtract that particular current sources. Okay, now next thing. So as I said you always that the current sources should always be in parallel, whereas the voltage sources should always be in series. What happens when you see two different current sources are connected in series? Okay, so you will never see this condition because you cannot see a current source with the different value connected in series, because current remains constant in a series network. Okay, so you will never see the condition where a current source, two different current sources are connected in series. Okay, you will never see the condition two different current sources connected in series, because in series network current remains same, current remains constant, it doesn't differ. Now similarly, if you see two different voltage sources connected in parallel, this might be possible. Okay, this can be possible, V1 and V2, as you can see in this example. So here V1 is there and here V2 is there. This is possible, but what happens here is the voltage across this parallel network will be equal to the voltage whichever maximum of this particular two voltage source. If for example think that V1 is 100 volts and V2 is 10 volts, so therefore V2 will be neglected here because 100 is greater than 10 volts. Therefore voltage across this parallel network is 100 volts. Now think that V1 is 10 volts and V2 is 100 volts. Then V1 will be neglected here. So V2 will be the total voltage across the network. Okay. So okay, so I hope you all got this V1 and V2, what happens when they are in parallel and what happens I1 and I2 when they are in series. Okay, now can we get into our concept? So can we move on and can we go in terms of source transformation, right? Okay. Now, before getting into the source transformation, again there are two types of circuit transformation you normally see in the source transformation technique that you apply, okay, in any electrical circuit. So before getting into the problems, first we see what is that transformation that we do in the problem. Then we will get into the finding out the solution of any given example. Okay. So normally source transformation is of two types. Okay. First you see resistor in series with voltage can be transformed into a resistor in parallel with the current source. Okay, so when you see a voltage source in series with the resistance, that can be converted into a current source in parallel with the resistance. Okay, so what would be the current source value when you transform it? Okay, so when you convert voltage in series with R to a current source in parallel with R, then what would be the value of the current source that we are going to find? So here our very known law and very important law comes into picture, which is Ohm's law. So we know that according to the Ohm's law, V would be equal to I into R, or R equals V by I, or you can also say I equals V by R. So here we are finding out the current, therefore we can say current would be equal to voltage divided by resistance. So when you find out the value of that current by finding out V by R, then that would be the value of the current source in the transformed network. So similarly, the second type is when you find out the current source in parallel with the resistance can be transformed into a voltage source in series with the resistance. Okay, so voltage source in series with the resistance. So you have a current source in parallel with respect to the resistance in the network that can be transformed into a voltage source in series with the resistance. Now what would be the value of the voltage? How will you find out the value of the voltage source? Again, Ohm's law is what which comes into picture. We know that V equals I into R. It's a basic formula and a very important formula of Ohm's law that we come across many times. So V equals I into R. So you find out voltage there and substitute that voltage to this particular source that you have connected in series with the resistance. Now this is what the transformation that you do in any given for any given network. Now you might ask me to you might ask me why this transformation is required, for what reason the transformation is applied. So as I said you before, that voltage source in series can be added, similarly current source in parallel can also be added. So when you have a circuit where you find out where you see voltage source connected in series with the resistance, and further you can't solve it, or further you can't add that particular voltage source, then what you do is convert that series to parallel. So you see there are like for example there are two different parallel branch which are connected in parallel. For example you have a branch which are connected in parallel, where each branch will have a voltage source in series with the resistance. As I said you, when you have a parallel branch, voltage in parallel cannot be added, right? Only current in parallel can be added. So what you do? So for the one of the branch which is where you see voltage in series with R, convert that into current in parallel with R. Similarly, another branch where you have voltage in series with R, convert that particular current source in parallel with R. Now you see two different current source in parallel, two different resistance in parallel. So as I said, your current source in parallel can be added. Now what happens to the resistance when they come across in parallel? R equivalent you all know. R parallel is what? R equivalent for parallel set network will always be equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2, right? So you all know about the parallel connection of resistance. I hope the derivation for that you people even done in physics in first year +1 +2 also, and I hope resistance in parallel or series derivation you people have learned in first year of your engineering also. Okay, it's a basic formula which we have come across even in schools also. So I need not to cover the derivation now. So R parallel is R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2 is the formula you use for resistance when you have two resistance are in parallel. Similarly in series R1 plus R2. So similarly in current sources also. So when you see current source in parallel with R, and you see through that there is only two branches which are connected in two parallel branches which are connected in parallel. Then two parallel branches connected in parallel, the current sources it is quite difficult to add. Sorry, not parallel. Two parallel branches connected in series. Okay, so when you find out two parallel branch where I and R in parallel, I and R in parallel, they both are connected in series. So what will you do? Can I add current source in series? No, it is not possible. So therefore, I'll convert this I and R connected in parallel to series where you see voltage source in series with R. Similarly, I'll connect another parallel branch of I and R with to series V and R. You see two voltage source comes in series and two resistance comes in series. So therefore, you add two voltage in series, whereas you try to find out the R equivalent by finding out these two resistance are connected in series, which becomes R1 plus R2. Anyway, we'll see this in problem. So you need not to worry about the explanation that I have done now. You will understand when we see in the problems. Now, what happens to this resistance value once the circuit is transformed? Very simple. Resistance value doesn't change; it remains constant. Now the source transformation is only applicable for the resistive circuit. Keep this in mind. The source transformation is possible only with respect to resistive circuit. Okay, when you have a circuit which has only the resistance. So it is purely DC. Source transformation is applicable only for DC network. That is what you can see in note. Source transformation is applicable only for DC network. Second point is, source transformation is applied only for independent sources. Therefore, source transformation cannot be applied for dependent sources. Why? Because you can't transform a circuit which has a dependent source to some other part, because dependent means it will be dependent on some other variable. So how can you transform the dependent variable when it is dependent on some other variable? So it is not possible. Therefore, you can't transform, or you cannot use source transformation algorithm for a circuit which has a dependent sources. Okay, so these 2 points is very important. You cannot apply source transformation for a DC for a AC network. It can be applicable only for DC network where the network is purely resistive in nature. And second thing is, source transformation can be applied only for independent sources but cannot be applied for dependent sources. Okay. Before solving the problem, one more important thing that you people keep in mind is, before applying the source transformation technique, see through that if there is any redundancy condition in your network, in the given network. Okay, so before applying source transformation, see through that, is there any redundancy condition in the given electrical network. Very, very important, because in exam, most of the examiners or the paper setter will normally give a circuit which looks to be very complicated for any student. Okay, but that circuit is very simple and very easy to solve, and the marks also for that circuit will be 4 marks. Now, student thinks it is complicated. Why? Because the size of the circuit will be so huge or large connection of components that you see. So students get panicked by looking into the network, and finally they feel that it is very complicated circuit. But there is the intelligence of the paper setter, because he might have introduced many redundancy condition in that particular network. Now, once you find out the redundancy condition in the network, remove all those redundancy conditions in the given network, and you see the entire network which was complicated gets converted into very simplest manner, and that is why it is of 4 marks. Now, student thinks this is so complicated, and examiner has set the question for 4 marks. I hope this should be 10 marks or something. Okay, so this is how students get panic and student gets into trouble. Okay, my students who listen to my videos, I always train them in all aspects. So see through that the redundancy conditions need to be checked in any network. Now, what is redundancy? I hope this redundancy condition I have already explained in my first video. Right? What is redundancy? Current source connected in series with the resistance and voltage source connected in parallel with the resistance. Right? When you see current source connected in series with the resistance, what we do? We remove the resistance and we can short that particular terminal of the resistance. Right? What we do when voltage source is connected in parallel with the resistance? We remove the resistance and we create an open circuit across that resistive terminal. Right? So I hope if you see the video, my first video, previous video, you will come to know what exactly the redundancy condition is. Okay. Alright, so can we get into the problem? So let us look into a very simple problem here. It's quite very simple problem. It's not so complicated. I hope the marks what you can expect for this particular problem would be not more than 4 marks. It can be 3 or 4 marks. Okay. So what would be the network now? So the question is asking you to find out voltage V naught using source transformation. Okay, so where is voltage V naught? It is across 100 ohms. Can you see this? It is across 100 ohms. V naught is across 100 ohms. Okay, now how will we find out voltage V naught? Any suggestions, students? Like, can you think on this particular problem, how to find out V naught? The first main thing always students do is they think that these two resistors are in parallel and they are forced to find out the equivalent resistance. No, it's wrong, because when any question is asked, and you should understand the question first. He is asking you to find out voltage across the resistance 100 ohms. So it is not a good practice to make that parallel to series and lose that 100 ohm resistance, because if you convert that parallel to series, then 100 ohm will be vanished, right? So keep that 100 ohm as it is and then see what else you can do by applying source transformation. Okay, so what you can do here is, first thing you need to look into the network. Can we find out a voltage series in resistance and current in parallel with the resistance? Now here this current source is in parallel with this 100 ohms, and meanwhile the same current source is also parallel with 20 ohms. See, all this parallel voltage across this parallel from this particular node to ground will remain constant. Okay, so V naught might be the voltage across 100 ohms. V naught is also the voltage across 20 ohms. Okay, because as this is a parallel connection, voltage remains constant across parallel network. Therefore V naught might be the resistance across 100 ohms. So V naught is also voltage across 20 ohms. So it is not, there is no any mistake if you replace this 20 ohms and put it across 8 amps and 100 ohms. So take this 20 ohms and connect here, it is one and the same. The position of the 20 ohms, if you change it before 100 ohms and connect that parallel with 8 amps, it is one and the same, because voltage across 100 ohms and 20 ohms is same, V naught. Okay, but here we need to use source transformation. So what we will do, we have voltage source 250 volts in series with 25 ohms. We have a current source 8 amps in parallel with these two resistors. So the first thing what we do is, we will try to convert that voltage source in series with the resistance into a parallel network. Why we are doing this? Why do we convert the voltage source in series with resistance to a parallel? Why? Because other than that voltage source in series with 25 ohms, other than this voltage source in series with this 25 ohms, the next part of the circuit is completely parallel. So if I convert this voltage in series with 25 ohms into a parallel current source in parallel with 25 ohms, you see that these two current source will be in parallel, and this all this 25 ohms, 100 ohms and 20 ohms will follow in parallel again. So therefore I will touch this, but I will not touch this current source, because for me, once I convert this voltage to parallel, then that two current sources I can either add it or subtract it. Okay. Now what happens here when you convert this series to parallel? This is what you can see here. 25 ohms in series with 250 volts. Convert into parallel. So you need to find out what is I. I equals V by R. Therefore 250 volts divided by 25 ohms. Therefore I will be equal to 10 amps. So therefore I will replace this 250 volts in series with 25 ohms to this parallel network. I hope this AND signal you people are able to see. So please follow that AND signal whatever I am moving. So 10 amps in parallel with 25 ohms, and then you replace the same part of the circuit whatever we have, that is what here, 8 amps, 100 ohms and 20 ohms. Now as this parallel network, the replacement of the components can be done. Why? Because the voltage across this parallel network is constant. The voltage across 25 ohms, voltage across 100 ohms, voltage across 20 ohms is same. So V0 is the voltage across this parallel network. Therefore 10 amps, I'll put this 8 amps this side, so 8 amps will come here. I'll take 25 ohms and I'll put that after 8 amps, so 25 ohms here, and then this 20 ohms I'll put this before 100 ohms, so 20 ohms here. So I am replacing the component's position. So in parallel you can do that because voltage across that parallel is same. Okay. So here very important is the current source are in parallel. Now you should check the direction of the current source, whether they both are same or different. As you see, 10 amps is flowing towards upwards, whereas 8 amps is downwards. So therefore I am going to subtract those current sources. Okay, we are going to subtract it. Now similarly, you see 25 ohms and 20 ohms are in parallel. I can convert that into equivalent circuit. Anyhow, 100 ohms is what for us is important, because he is asking to find out V0 across 100 ohms. Okay, we'll keep it as it is. So when I say 25 and 20 are in parallel, so therefore R would be equal to 25 into 20 divided by 25 plus 20. We all know in parallel, you know, R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. So I get 500 by 45. So when you take your calculator and try to solve it, the resistor R would be equal to 11.11 ohms. So here 10 amps and 8 amps are in parallel but in different direction. Therefore 10 amps minus 8 amps will be 2 amps. Now your question is, what would be the direction of the current source of 2 amps? So in what direction should I take arrow? Whether I should take downwards or upwards? Always look into the highest value of the current source which are connected in parallel. So 10 amps is greater than 8 amps. So see the direction of the highest current source value, which is 10 amps. So it is flowing upwards. So retain that direction for the equivalent current value that you find out. Okay. So very simplest way that I am trying to tell you. Fastest way to find out the direction. So see the current source which is greater value. So 10 amps is greater and 8 amps is less than 10 amps. Therefore 8 amps is flowing downwards whereas 10 amps is flowing upwards. Therefore 10 minus 8 is 2 amps. The direction of 2 amps will be equal to the direction of the 10 amps. Okay, so 2 amps is flowing upwards. Now I have a current source connected in parallel with 11.11 ohms, which is an equivalent parallel circuit value, and then connected in parallel with 100 ohms. My job is to find out what is the voltage across 100 ohms. So what will I do? Now this 2 amps will behave as a total current and it is getting divided into current I1 and I2. So as I said, current division rule is one which is applied here. Why? Because voltage across 100 ohms, the voltage across 100 ohms is equal to current flowing through that 100 ohms multiplied by 100. Okay, according to the Ohm's law, V equals I by I into R. Therefore, current flowing through the resistance 100 ohms is I2, whereas resistance value is 100 ohms. You multiply resistance with current, you get voltage. Now, my job is to find out I2, right? My job is to find out what is I2. So, therefore, I2 would be equal to current division rule. I2 would be equal to total current 2 multiplied by the opposite resistance 11.11 divided by the summation of these two resistance, which is 11.11 plus 100. I'm sorry, there that is plus 100. 11.11 plus 100. Therefore, 11.11 plus 100. Okay, there is a small mistake in this problem. I hope this is not into, it is plus. I made a mistake here. So it is 2 into 11.11 divided by 11.11 plus 100. Okay, sometimes, you know, it happens. Human has a tendency to make a mistake anyway. So 2 into 11.11 divided by 11.11 plus 100. So I hope the answer what you get is somewhere around 0.199. So you can say it is 0.2 amps. It's not 0.02 amps. It is 0.2 amps. So 0.2 amps is what the solution that you get. Those who are listening to this video, you can change this to 0.2 amps. Okay, 0.2 amps is the value that you get. So 0.2 into 100. So when I say 0.2 into 100, then you get 20 volts. Okay, this is 20 volts. There is a small mistake, I'm sorry. So 20 volts is the value, is the answer that you get. Okay, so uh, I hope the method is clear. I hope the solution, finding out the solution for any given problem is clear to you. Important is you should know the method. Finding out the solution at the end is very simple way, but finding out the method application is what which is very important. Very important thing is, first thing is understanding the circuit in a given question. So look into the components carefully and then try to analyze the technique that need to be applied so that the number of steps is very less. Okay, so later stage, my coming videos, next videos will definitely make you to realize or analyze in a more simplest manner, because mesh analysis and node voltage analysis and all, if you go, it all depends on the students capacity of thinking. Means how fast they think and how fast the methods are applied, so that the solution is been obtained very soon. See, there are plenty of ways to find out the solution, but the main thing in electrical circuit analysis is you need to apply the method in such a manner that the number of steps required to find out the solution should be very less. So if you try to apply different methods and try to find out the solution by having more number of steps, then definitely you will fall into confusion, and most of the students, they don't continue in solving the problems because they get confused in finding out the solution in between, means in the middle part of the solution that you are finding out. Okay, now let us go to the next problem. Problem 2. Now, it's quite difficult. I will not say difficult, because you see more difficult than this. This is quite simple circuit only, but for an initial stage you might say it can be difficult than problem 1. Okay, it might be bit more complicated than the problem 1. Okay, so what is this? See, you have a circuit here. 10 volts is connected in series with 5 ohms, then 10 ohms is connected in parallel with 1 amps, then you have 5 ohms, and then you have another 5 ohms here. Then what is the question which has been asked here is, find the current I as shown in the figure. So you need to find out the current I here. Okay, you need to find out the current I. What will you do? Okay, so can you think for a while before looking into the answer? Can you think for a while to find out the answer? So what will we do so that find the current I is been found? Okay, so there are only two possible ways. Either convert this 10 volts in series with 5 ohms to the parallel network, or convert this 10 ohms in parallel with 1 amps to series network. Okay, so we'll see what to do. Now if I convert 10 volts in series with 5 ohms to parallel, then the circuit will not be solved. Means it remains again in the same complicated manner like how you see the question circuit is. Okay, so let me see whether if I convert the 10 ohms in series with 1 amps, 10 ohms in series with 1 amps to series network, where you see voltage source in series with resistance 10 ohms. So if I do that, and then we'll see whether I can try to write the circuit in a different way. Okay, so we'll see that. So when I convert this in series, what happens? This resistor 10 ohm comes in series with 5 ohms. So it becomes very simple now. So we'll see that. Okay. So 10 ohms in series in parallel with 1 amps. When I convert that by using Ohm's law, I'll get V to be equal to 10 volts. So 10 volts in series with 10 ohms. So that is, I am going to write that. So I am replacing this particular entire circuit to this. Now your question, I think the student might ask me, what would be the polarity of the voltage source? Where should I write plus, and in which direction I should write minus? See the arrow mark of the current source, it is flowing towards left, right? Therefore, the top of the arrow should be plus, bottom of the arrow should be minus. Okay, so plus minus, that's it. So it is going towards left, so you also take plus towards left and minus towards right. That is how you put the polarity for the voltage source. Okay, now 10 and 5 are in series. So 10 plus 5 is 15 ohms. So can I write the circuit in this manner? See, at 10 volts in series with 5 ohms. Yes, 10 volts in series with 5 ohms. They both are in parallel with 5 ohms. So this entire circuit is parallel with 5 ohms. And that is in parallel with this entire series combination. So 15 ohms and 10 ohms. So this is the circuit which I have, which I get if I convert this parallel to series. Okay, now what is my next job? Can I add voltage source when they are both are in parallel? No, you can add only the current source when they are in parallel. Voltage source in parallel cannot be added. So what should I do now? Very simple. See, all three branches are in parallel, right? If I convert this voltage source in series with 5 ohms to parallel, and if I convert this 10 volts in series with 15 ohms to parallel, then parallel current source will get added and parallel resistance will be converted into equivalent resistance. So therefore 5 ohms in 10 volts series converts into parallel 2 amps and 5 ohms. How I got 2 amps? 10 by 5, which is 2. Okay, so minus plus is what the polarity you can see. So direction of the arrow will be right side because plus is right and minus is left, therefore arrow will go towards right. Similarly here 10 volts and 15 ohms are in series, so I will get current source value is 2 by 3 amps, 15 ohms, and how it is right side arrow direction, because plus is right and minus is left, plus is left and minus is right, therefore the direction of the arrow will go towards left. Okay, so this is how we normally convert a series to parallel. Now we'll connect these two components to the network now. So this is how it looks. So 2 amps in parallel with 5 ohms and then 15 ohms in parallel with 2 by 3 amps. Now we need to find out what is the current through 5 ohms. That is what our job is. Find out the current I flowing towards 5 ohms. So as these are parallel, can I replace the position of all the components and keep 5 ohms at the end? Yes, it is possible, right? So therefore 2 amps in parallel with 2 by 3 amps, 5 ohms in parallel with 15 ohms. Now our job is done. Very easy now. So 2 plus 2 by 3 you get 8 by 3, and then 5 ohms in parallel with 15 ohms. So 5 into 15 divided by 5 plus 15, you get 75 by 20, which is 15 by 4 ohms. So here a current source 8 by 3 amps in parallel with 15 by 4 ohms and in parallel with 5 ohms. Now your job is to find out I. So it's either you can apply current division rule, right? Current division rule is also possible, or you can convert this parallel network. So in my previous problem I showed you current division rule. In this problem I'm explaining you another technique where converting this parallel to again series. So here 8 by 3 amps in parallel with 15 by ohms can be converted into a voltage source in series with the resistance. Okay, so here when I apply V equals I into R, I'll get 10 volts. So 10 volts is the resistance and 15 by 4 ohms remains constant, same. So this series network is replaced with this parallel now, and this is the circuit which you get. 10 volts in series with 15 by 4 ohms and in series with 5 ohms. Now what would be the current I? I is nothing but the total current flowing through this loop. So now because it is a series network, right? So in series network current remains constant. Therefore current I is the total current flowing through this particular loop. So what is the total current I in this loop? Total voltage divided by total resistance. So therefore total voltage is V divided by the total resistance is summation of these two because they both are in series. So 15 by 4 ohms plus 5 ohms. So therefore 10 volts divided by 15 by 4 plus 5. Therefore when you solve it you get 40 by 35. Therefore finally the current I equals 8 by 7 amps. You get 1 point something if you take that fraction into decimal point. So 8 by 7 amps is what the value of the current I. I hope all the students, I hope these two problems which I explained you just now by using source transformation is clear. I hope you have understood all the problems which I am explaining you now. Right? So can we go to the next problem? Okay. Now problem 3. So let us see what does the problem 3 gives you. So here you can see 6 ohm connected in parallel with 5 amps, and then that in turn connected with 3 ohms in parallel, and then you see 5 volts which are between this particular branch, and then you have 7 ohms and then 3 amps, then 1 ohm and 4 ohm. And what should we find out here is I'm sorry, I have forgot to mention the question here. The question here is to find out this I naught flowing towards 7 ohms. You need to find out the current I naught. Okay, I need to find out the current I naught flowing towards this 7 ohm resistance. That is the question. Okay, what is the first thing that we do here is, first thing we need to reduce it, because we can reduce. No need of applying source transformation now. See, reducing means you have 1 ohm in series with 4 ohm. It can be converted into series network, so 4 plus 1 is 5 ohms. And again you see 6 ohm in parallel with 3 ohms. You replace this 3 ohms here or here, it is one or the same. So 6 in parallel with 3, you get 2 ohms. So you replace that 6 and 3 in parallel to one single resistance, 2 ohms here. Therefore, reduced network will be 2 ohms in parallel with current source 5 amps, and then 5 volts comes in between this parallel circuit where 7 ohms, and then you have 3 amps, and then 4 plus 1 5 amps. Now this is the reduced network. Now you check what can be applied, which transformation can be applied so that the current through 7 ohms can be formed. So what we will do now? So 5 volts is there in between, so you can't just convert, you can't just add 5 amps and 3 amps. Okay, you can't say 5 amps and 3 amps can be added. Why? Because there is a voltage source in between those current source. So you can't directly say 2 ohm is parallel with 7 ohm now. Not possible, because there is a voltage source between this particular parallel network. So for that, what you need to do is convert this 2 ohm and 5 ohm into series, and then you add that series voltage that you get, add that with 5 volts, and then see further what you can do. So therefore, when 2 ohms with parallel with 5 amps is converted into series, I get 10 volts in series with 2 ohms. So therefore, how did I get 10 volts in series 2 ohms? 5 2s are 10. So V equals I into R. Therefore 10 volts and 2 ohms in series. So similarly here 3 amps in series with 5 ohms. I can convert that also in series. So I get 15 volts in series with 5 ohms. 5 3s are 15. So 15 volts in series with 5 ohms. Okay. So therefore you see these circuits are been replaced here. So this circuit is replaced with series, which is 10 volts and 2 ohms. Arrow of 5 amps is upper, therefore plus goes in top and minus comes down, and this 5 volts is replaced as it is, whereas 7 ohms is replaced from the main circuit itself, whereas this 3 amps in parallel with 5 ohms is being converted in series. So again here 3 amps is flowing towards top, means the direction of 3 amps is towards upper side, therefore plus goes to top and minus comes down. So that is in series with 5 ohms. Now you see this 10 volts and 5 volts gets added up, because when I see current flowing towards this branch, it flows from minus to plus and again minus to plus. Therefore polarity is same. So 10 plus 5 is 15. So how to maintain the polarity of this 15 volts? Again same like what we did previously in the current source, same thing will be applied here. 10 volts polarity is plus and minus. So you retain the polarity of 15 volts with the polarity of 10 volts, because 10 volts is greater than this 5 volts. Okay. Therefore 15 volts in series 2 ohms in parallel with 7 ohms, and that is in turn parallel with the series network where 15 volts in series with 5 ohms. Now what will you do to find out the current I? Very simple. Convert voltage source in series with resistance to parallel, and convert 15 ohm in series with 5 ohms to parallel. So that is what we have here. So 7.5 amps is what I get when I convert that into parallel. I hope one step can be reduced here, if I am not wrong. This conversion of 3 amps to 3 amp in parallel with 5 ohms to series is not required. I am sorry. That step can be reduced. Means you need to again convert that into parallel, because parallel always current source gets added up. Okay. So again see, I have written the same thing. 5 ohms in parallel with 3 amps. So similarly here 7.5 amps in parallel with 2 ohms. Where did I got this? With this 15 volts in series with 2 ohms. Okay. So 15 by 2 is 7.5 amps is what current value that I get. Now see, all are in parallel. So can we do like what we did earlier? So say therefore 7.5 amps parallel with 3 amps. So 3 amps can come here because the voltage drop across this parallel remains constant. So 7.5 and 3 comes to next to each other. Then 5 I will replace here, so that 2 ohms and 5 ohm will be in parallel, and I will relocate 7 ohm at the end. So 7 ohm is here. So I need to find out what is current I. as we did earlier in the previous problem, current division rule, or again convert this parallel to series and find out the total current I in that particular series. So therefore, the current division rule is what I have applied here. So 10.5 amps total current multiplied by the opposite resistance 10 by 7 and divided by the total resistance, which is 10 by 7 plus 7. So I get 105 by 59. Therefore, the total current I towards 7 ohm is 1.779 amps. I hope all the three problems which I taught you is clear, and I hope you can repeat listening this video again and again, okay, and you can in turn learn all three problems in detail, okay. If you find out any doubts, or if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, I suggest you people to please comment me in the comment box below the video in YouTube, so that I can clarify the doubts that you come across in. Okay, so I hope source transformation, when there is no dependent sources, is clear to you. So my next video will be on source transformation, how to apply source transformation when there is a dependent source in the network. So you can't apply source transformation for a dependent source, but what to do, how to solve the network when I have a dependent source in any given network, how to apply this source transformation. Okay, so that is very important, and for your exams also it is very important, because students always face difficult when dependent sources are given. Okay, so we'll see that in the next video. I hope please watch this video, solve all three problems, learn the techniques in beginning which I have explained you about source transformation and all the rules that we come across in applying in the electrical circuit, so that the solution can be found in the simplest manner. Okay, and if you like this video and if you have understood in a clear manner, I request you people to please like and subscribe to my channel, and also I request you people to share my videos so that anyone can understand and anyone can learn the subject, and that doesn't cost anything for any student. It's all free of cost. The only thing what you people need is a internet connection. So therefore knowledge transferring is the only job of any teacher. So that is what I am doing. So all the best. So please learn. Okay, thank you.